Hello, Ryan Garland. I am your host of the Paradyme Shift. I cannot wait to expose the true inner depths of institutional wealth building and how to dig deep into real estate investing. Hey everybody, Ryan Garland here, founder and chairman of Paradyme. Welcome to the Paradyme Shift. I am honored today to have Colin, one of my closest buddies. He's got a very unique story. We're going to talk about where he came from and how he got into the boat racing world. A lot of people, as of yesterday, when I was posting about me having you on our podcast, they were pumped, man. They wanted to hear kind of like about the boating world because my Man Cave brand has been really kind of catered around my boating life because that's my passion. I grew up coming out here and boating with my family and so on and so forth. So really, we built our brand around boating, and that's the man, the myth. We want to talk about the money that's in this game and kind of just add some value to our audience to show you how people live their lives, really. You know, what some of these people that have money want to do and people that don't have money also do and want to do. So, Colin, thanks for joining me, buddy.
That's the truth is you don't got to have money to do it. I'm point proven right there. I'm very lucky and blessed to get to what I do. So.
Absolutely. Well, dude, it's an honor. Thank you for being here today.
Hey, dude, thank you for having me. Thank you very much. It's a privilege.
Well, I love you dearly, and I think it's cool.
I look up to you. Everything that you do, you know that. Everybody knows that. What you got going on is phenomenal. Stuff like that. So just be welcomed on this. It's phenomenal. And even from the beginning, you know that. So.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. And you know what? I think that really today I want to be able to share with our audience a little bit about who you are, your background, and kind of how our relationship really allowed you to kind of expand your horizon.
100%.
And even before we were starting this recording, just hearing more about your story was intriguing. And I think I want to kind of, let people hear who you are.
100%.
So let's talk a little bit about what you do right now, and then we'll go to kind of, how you were raised. But what do you do at the moment? What's your position with Doug Wright Racing Crew?
Yeah, so I am the crew chief of Mount Lake Racing, number 40. We are a APBA class, factory class boat racing team. So we're a professional boat racing team. We're sponsored by Mount Lake Injury Attorneys out of Atlanta, Georgia. So we're very blessed to have a awesome sponsor, a big sponsor, to back us because, like you were talking about the money, the money in the sport. It's a very costly sport. Everybody knows boating's expensive just to go out for a day.
Well, it's a NASCAR, Formula One. This is just boating.
100%. And we run at the, not quite the caliber of NASCAR because, their teams have like 60 and 70 people and stuff like that. But I mean, we have semi-truck haulers, we have show haulers, we have RVs, we have merch, we come with a group, so it's definitely an operation. We're definitely one of the biggest teams in the sport, when it comes to equipment and auxiliary stuff and stuff like that. We are definitely becoming one of the biggest ones because we have a great sponsor. Because when it comes to it, it's the money. Propellers, fuel, hotels, everything to get us to the races. I think our cheapest race might be $50,000. If we don't break anything,
and that's how rare is that?
And that's very rare, especially in the sport that we do. It's offshore racing, so it's definitely crazy. And I mean, it's intense. Competition is wild, is crazy, especially this year. There's some things behind the scenes going on, so it's extra crazy and extra wild.
But you're trying to say it's political?
No.
Anything that much money is not political?
Exactly. And that's what it comes down to is the whole money situation and stuff like that, which sucks. Because at the end of the day, the athletes, the people on the teams and stuff like that, we just want to come and race.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the money is what fuels it all and stuff like that. Sponsorships, promoters, and everything like that. Sponsor certain race teams that are sponsored by certain people don't want promoters bringing in certain sponsors because it steps on their feet. But at the end of the day, they're just looking for the funds to, make this sport greater and stuff like that.
And build awareness and continue to buy the best of the best and try to
do is
level
just
up.
Get it back out there. Like back in the 80s and 90s, boat racing was a huge thing. It was on ESPN every single weekend. It was huge exposure and stuff like that, and kind of fell off the map. And so we have a couple teams and producers coming in to try to bring it back to light, to try to bring it back in. It's not as big as NASCAR because the thing with offshore racing is we're racing offshore. Yeah. So viewership is hard because you usually only get a mile and a half to watch us. On the back stretch, we're gone. Yeah. So that's one of the hardest parts. But now with technology these days, live streams are phenomenal. Like in the last 2 years alone, live streams have come leaps and bounds, so being able to get people in Chicago to watch a race that's in Key West, to keep them involved and stuff like that, technology and stuff like that is definitely helping it leaps and bounds.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about kind of like that whole world, but let's really, the idea is to kind of go back to where you were before.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit how where are you from? How old are you? Where are you from? And how did you kind of get to Havasu? Let's do it that way.
I grew up in the Midwest of Chicago, on a river, the Fox River, which is connected to the chain of lakes, which is a decent sized lake for the Midwest. And we grew up on pontoon boats with like 35 horsepower motors, nothing crazy. I'd see a speedboat pass and just dream, like it was just, it wasn't, I wasn't deprived. We weren't poor or anything like that. It was a different lifestyle, money at the end of the day. 4 kids, we had a big family, stuff like that. So we were within our means. My aunt had an awesome pontoon boat, lake house. So that's what I grew up on. But I always had that dream, of fast boats and stuff like that.
Oh, wait, a young man that wants to be things that are fast?
Exactly. Shocking. Exactly. So then fast forward a couple of years, I went camping and this guy had a Scarb, twin 502 motor, at the time, it's a big boat. He's like, come out with me.
All that muscle, super loud. Oh,
10 years old. I'm going out with this stranger on his boat. I don't know what my dad was thinking, letting me do it because he wasn't there, but it changed my life. And I said, dude, something else. And so ever since then, I'd always been a dream, a goal, to always have a big power boat, be involved in power boats, whatever, yada, yada, yada. So then, in my adult years.
So you mean life kicked you in the teeth and steered you in a different direction? Oh,
and
gotcha.
Said, here, before you want to buy this power boat, you need to do stuff with your life. So
go have a baby, not make it, not go through a divorce, all the good fun stuff.
All the good fun stuff. And then you can buy a boat. So I graduated high school. I got into truck driving and equipment operating. I always knew I wanted to work with my hands. My dad was a union electrician. I'd gone to work with him since I was 8 years old, cleaning up and stuff like that. So it always intrigued me in equipment operating, motors, just something in my mind.
Well, not to interrupt real quick. What kind of another thing that stands out about you is, it's scripture. It says for a man to work with his hands will always provide for his family.
100%.
And so coming from your father in that background, that's why you're such a hands-on guy now. So we'll keep going.
Exactly. 100%. But it's all full circle. Mm-hmm. And so then, truck driving, equipment operating. And then I just always wanted to do the biggest, do the best, try the hardest, work the hardest, go as hard as I can. My dad always told me if you're always working, you can never be broke.
That's true.
So,
it's facts,
it's something that I live by. I never turn down work. That's one of my biggest things. I never say no. Unfortunately, my girlfriend may hate it, but it's like, I never say no.
And he's saying that with a smile, everybody, because we talked about this yesterday. He's going to leave this weekend, this 3-day weekend.
I was supposed to have this weekend completely off. And if anybody saw my Instagram story last night, they now know that is the furthest thing from the truth. I'm about to do 6,000 miles and from flights to driving and flying and then just to get to a race on time. But I like to help. I love to help. I love to be that guy. I love to be involved. I love, it's what I do. It's my passion. So it's not work. I don't think of it as work. It's what am I doing tomorrow? And my life is crazy. Like I'm traveling more in one weekend than most people do in a year, or 2 years. I talk to some people that still haven't left my hometown. So it's just like, I live a very blessed life. It's crazy. It's nonstop. It's always on the go, but I love it. I love it. So fast forward to equipment operating, got into the union, lineman. I was a lineman for almost 12 years. I've been a union lineman, made really good money, great career. Everybody strives. Everybody wants to be a lineman, lineman. It's great. Cush, travel sucks, but that comes with it. Linemen have the cool toys, so you got to do what you got to do. So I did that. And then we actually ended up putting a power line through Lake Havasu. I had no idea what Lake Havasu was. I grew up a little Midwest town. Somebody told me, hey, there's a lake in the desert. Yeah, right. You're full of shit. But there was, and it was awesome. And the first time my buddy invited me out here to go on a boat with him, he was coming out here from Colorado. And I remember coming into town and going through the canyon. Look, this is something else, and I was hooked. I went out on the boat the weekend with them. I was supposed to be there a day. I ended up being there 3 days, did the Havasu hangover, just hung.
That's how it is. People come out and don't leave.
I gotta go. I gotta get back. I'm out of money. I gotta go back to work. So I go back to work. Luckily we were working in Palm Springs, so I was kind of close to Havasu still, 3 hours away. Everybody commutes from SoCal to Havasu. So I did that for a while, came out here, made some friends, made some connections and stuff like that. And I was like, 5 years, I'm going to live here. I'm going to make it a 5-year goal. I never did any of that shit. I lived by tomorrow.
Yeah, totally.
And even tomorrow is going to change too. But I said to myself, I was like, 5 years, I want to live out here. I travel for a living, so it doesn't matter where I live.
Yeah, it's easy.
So it's the airport commute's a little bit of a bummer, but whatever. I'll get through it. So I told myself I want to move out here within 5 years. Bam, next year COVID hits.
Mm-hmm.
Housing market goes crazy. Mm-hmm. I had a house, real nice house. American dream, flagpole in the front yard, sitting on almost an acre, 3,500 square feet. Yeah. Like, call my buddy who's a realtor, and I said, hey, if I sold my house tomorrow, what could you get me? It's a great school district, suburbs of Chicago. It's one that's sought after and stuff like that. So houses don't stay for sale.
Yeah.
So I called him, and I said, if I sold my house tomorrow, what could I get? He tells me it's like almost $200,000 more than I bought it for 2 years ago. I'm like, dude, list that thing. He was like, do you need to clean it up or anything? I was like, no, dude, I never go there. I was like, tell me when your picture guy's going to be there.
Yeah.
I'll have the garage opened up. You can go in there and take pictures, blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right, dude. He was like, get ready. He was like, this market right now is crazy. Because it was like right at the beginning of the cold,
Everybody's
how that
overpaying.
went.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was
Wild.
freaking out, not knowing if they were going to be able to get houses. And then my mom's like, where are you going to live? What are you going to do? And I was like, I don't care. I'll live in a hotel. Like I get paid to travel. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. It's like, all right. So we list the house. It was like 16 offers or something in like 24 hours.
Yeah.
One showing, it was crazy. He's like, he called me. He's like, got an all cash offer, less than 30 days, blah, blah, blah. I said, bro. So we sold the house. And I was like, I'm moving to Lake Havasu. Everybody's like, what? I was like, I'm going to Lake Havasu.
Yeah, but man, when you came out here during that time, I remember it took me 4 hours to drop at the marina, and I tried to get into Windsor.
Dude,
it was
unreal,
crazy
dude.
out here during
the
pandemic.
It was the spot.
Well, the whole California shut down. Vegas is shut
Everybody
down.
came
Phoenix
over
is
here.
shut down. Everyone came here, man.
Yep. And so it was the spot, So I came here, and then, like I said, I knew I was going to be traveling still for work and yada, yada. Well, that sucked. Having to leave Sunday when everybody's kicking it out on the boat, and I got to pack my suitcase, drive to the airport, and go back to Pennsylvania. I was like, something's got to change. Something's got to change. So I was like, I'm going to try to find a job in Havasu. Well, coming from a lineman, union lineman, that's good wages and stuff like that, you're just not going to find it.
Yeah, not out here.
So I said, I got to make something of my own. I said, I got to figure out how to do something on my own to make my own income, support myself and stuff like that. And all I saw was these big fancy boats, all these fancy toys and stuff like that. I come from trucking, and then the side part of trucking is show trucks, really nice trucks, owners of trucks dump a lot of money into them if they have a nice driver that takes care of it. Mm-hmm. So I was blessed to be always in a really nice truck, took care of it, presented it well. It's a good name for the company. You see this truck pull up, blah, blah, blah. So I'd always had a show truck thing. So keeping big objects clean wasn't new. It wasn't a task. It was cleaning a semi truck is an afternoon ordeal. After I got done working every day, it was usually wash the semi truck every single day. Yeah. So a boat is just a little more surface area, So I was like, I can do it, section it off, blah, blah, blah. So I came up with an idea. I was like, I'm going to start a detail business. I saw, there's a market.
Oh, yeah. It's a big deal out here.
It's a huge
deal. I tell
deal.
everybody the detail world here is like.
It's unbelievable.
Dude, I know.
It's unbelievable. It's crazy. It's the only place in the country that's like, I swear to God, I travel for a living. I go to every single state. I've seen it all. Because I try to call and I try to find detailers for like when we go to races and stuff like that. I try to set up, and you come here, you can go to a gas station without seeing a detailer.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Well, dude, the people, they want their toys clean, and this place is all nothing but toys. Well, exactly. My architect yesterday, which I'm going to see here in a couple hours, he was telling me, because we're looking at building homes where you literally just pull into your driveway with all your big toys and you live in your garage, like, you know what I mean? Like, right. But that's what people want.
Exactly.
We're trying to build regular homes here, and they're like, build more garage, less living space. Yep. It's a different game here. It's all about money.
What I tell people all the time. I was like, it doesn't matter how big your house is in Havasu. How big's your garage?
Yeah, how big is your garage? And let's be honest, you have more money in your garage than your house is worth.
100%.
And sometimes by 2 or 3 times.
And with the Havasu lifestyle, you're going to be on those toys that are in the garage more than you're going to be sitting on your couch.
Year round, too.
you know, like, and if it's not boating, everybody's got a sand rail. Everybody's got a side-by-side.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
so
a golf cart or jet
exactly.
skis.
So October, everybody goes to the sand, you know, and it's crazy.
Well, dude, I mean, look how many, side-by-sides you see out here on the streets. It's
Every day,
all there is.
Every day, even in the middle of summertime, it's 120 degrees out. Like somebody's.
It's so true.
It's true.
It's so true.
Yeah. But
Charging their battery.
Yeah. So then I saw the detail game, you know, keeping stuff clean out here was a big thing, you know. So I bought a trailer, you know, bought a power washer, all this stuff slow. You know, I kind of did it on the weekends, you know, while I'd come into town, I'd have a couple people lined up, nothing big, you know, something to get my feet wet. You know, I knew Havasu is a really small town. So there was a couple key players, you know, a couple big people, you know, and word of mouth travels. So I know you got to get one or two of those people, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
You know, that's the problem with some of these people is they'll try to go after everybody. It's like, you can't keep up with everybody. Trust me. I've tried, and I'm really good. I've tried, and it's impossible because once you get that holiday weekend and they're all here on that same weekend,
they're wanting you to clean all of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be
the busiest man alive.
It's going to be the first weekend where you are suddenly regretting why you quit that lineman job that was making really good money, and you're now detailing boats in 120 degrees at midnight because they want them clean the next day, you know? So it was a learning curve, you know, just taking something and seeing what it was and trying to make it something, you know? But then as cleaning their stuff, you know, I'm a people person. I know how to read people, and I see like, all right, these people are only here for 2 days. You know, they want to enjoy those 2 days as much as possible. What can I do to make that
a good experience?
My goal, you know, like anything and everything that I could do, you know, just to make those 2 days more enjoyable for them is all I need to do.
Yeah.
Don't need to do it with everybody, you know? So it was like, find a couple people that recognize your worth, you know, and we'll use you and take care of that. You were one of them. You know, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But so I started detail business into concierge service, being, you know, like you show up to town, get in your boat, go enjoy your boat, leave it there. I'll pull it out. God forbid anything happened. I'll schedule service, cleaning everything, put it back in your storage.
Yeah.
You're back in California living your life. It was great business.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
It's still and it's booming.
100%. I still have crews that every holiday weekend I got guys that are doing it. You know, it's a great business. So then it was the transport thing, you know, I saw all these boat, you know, events, poker runs around the country.
Let's go into that. The reason, so once you get into transport, it's a whole nother level of wealth.
100%.
Because these boys have $1 million plus boats.
And so then they all started hearing my background of transport and big stuff. And they were like, well, that's nothing. You could do that. Move my boat to the Ozarks so I can have it on vacation. All right, let's do that. You know, so then it was a big risk, you know. I was like, I need to buy a truck. I need to have my own truck. So I was like, go buy a truck. Big risk. So I went and bought a truck. Like literally the second day I had that truck, I'm thinking, what am I doing, man? What am I doing? What am I doing? I had a truck. I just showed up, turned the key, got paid, all that shit. Here I am getting insurance, DOT, all this stuff, pulling my hair out. I'm like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? Literally pull into Barrett. Yeah. Pull into Barrett's parking lot. And I get out. I'm going inside to talk to AJ because one of my clients that I help take care of, he needed something from AJ. So I just, right time, right place. Yep. You know, right place, right time. That's what I always tell people I relate. It was that, man. It was me walking up, you and Daniel talking, and then Daniel introducing me saying, hey, man, you just bought that truck. He's about to buy a boat. Link, you know, and that's how it went, you know, and then it slowly went from there and couldn't have been more blessed, you know, and so then it was the transport thing, and then not just the transport thing, you know, the taking care, you know, helping, you know, just not just taking their boat there, dropping their boat off and say, seeing you later, bye. I'd stay, you know, whatever you need, blah, blah, blah.
Because these boats, it takes a crew, man.
It is.
It's not easy.
You can, you know, you can do it by yourself, but there's going to be that one time where you wish you had a guy and you bump the dock. Yeah. You know, totally. It's definitely doable. It's definitely, you know, I pass sometimes with, I made this now my job to do this by myself. So it's like, I know what it's like to go out there by yourself and launch a 32-foot center console and get it to a dock and then get back in the truck to go park the truck. You know, so it's a lot and stuff like that. But I managed to make it work and then just kept it rolling. And, you know, I thought that was, you know, the end goal. You know, I thought that was, you know, it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was it. I'm taking care of these really nice boats. A dream, you know, I'm staying home every night, blah, 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 all this stuff. I'm working hard, but it's mine.
Yeah.
You know, it's all this stuff. And I had built up a great clientele, great guy, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, top tier, you know, top tier of the guys with the most toys.
Echelon of the players.
100%. Yeah. The Havasu life, you know, the people that portray that Havasu life. You know, I help take care of them and stuff like that.
Yep.
So it was a cool experience, awesome. And I still, like I said, I still have guys that do that, you know, still go out and wash and stuff like that. And then I do a lot of brokering, you know. I know a lot of people, you know, like I said, I'm great at talking to people and meeting people, stuff like that. So not everybody's for everybody, you know. Not everybody wants a $2,000 ceramic job this week. You know, some people just want a quick wash to get them through to make them look good going through the channel. But in a month, they are going to want that $2,000, you know. So I work with everybody in town, from the smallest guys with the smallest pickup trucks to the biggest detail companies. And, you know, I feed them all, you know, like, and that's just, and I don't make a dime, but it keeps my people taken care of. And that's at the end of the day, that's what I'm looking to do. Those 2 days, I just want them to have a good time. If I did it, if somebody else did it, I don't care. Yeah. It's just, they came out here and they did their thing. You know? So that's led to the brokering and the, you know, meeting people and knowing people, and then slowly into traveling to Miami and dropping boats off in Miami. Now I know people who own yachts, and I'm hooking people up with, oh, I know this guy with a yacht. You want to go out for a yacht for a week? Here you go. I connect these people, you know? So it just monetizes. Exactly. Totally. And goes, and you just never know. You know, you just really never know what something's going to bring you. I could have asked a guy in Havasu who wants a boat moved, you know, blah, 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 blah. But what that led to, you know, like, just changed. It just opens up the door. And it's you got to remember, because you're in the space, you're ultimately around these people, you know, that are wealthy and have created, you know, own businesses and, you know, have a lot of responsibility. 100%. And what's nice is that they always say you are who you hang out with. You're literally hanging out with a network of wealthy people. And so then because you've earned their trust, they're now taking you more under their wing and opening up doors for you. They're going to refer you to their friend. Totally. And they're going to, you know, and like I said, like, once I started and I had enough people, I had to disable my Instagram. You know, because I didn't want to take on anymore, because then you can't take care of those core people that have built you to what you are. You know? So that was the thing was, all right, you got a couple guys that they know your schedule. They know each other. So it's like, they can't fight with each other because they, you know, hey, you referred me to this, you know, so at the end, you know, so that's why I tried to keep my circle within the circle, because, you know, then you know when they come, when they're going to be there, what they need, blah, blah, blah. And there's realistic expectations. 100%. Yeah, for sure. And then they know what to expect. And managed expectations. All right. So let's talk about kind of the changing, I would say, not because you still have all that going on, but like how you really shifted now more into a race team, 100%. Really. So we had a event. What was it? February 22, Joe? I think it was, right? February 22, Miami. 23. Was it 23? Oh yeah, man, I'm in 2025. I forgot what year it is. Okay, so yeah, a couple years ago. 2 years have flown 2 years ago, like that. And, dude, and I have kids, and I tell my kids all the time, like, hey, I'm like that kind of getting older dad of like, hey, you never know how fast time flies. I'm on that path right now. Flies. Yeah, so, but so 2 years ago, so we ended up having and hosting like a corporate event, and really the idea was to try to build awareness on what we're doing and using other people's social medias as the platform to build 100%. Awareness. So we just kind of brought in a bunch of influencers, came in, but there was a lot of the existing clients and so forth that were there. So we wanted to add value to our network ultimately, right? Kind of help people grow and what have you. And so we were shipping our boat down there, and I forgot how I got introduced to JR. Who was it? I think it was because of the content that you were putting out on Instagram. It was Logan. Logan reached out to me. 100%. So yeah, you guys did a helicopter shoot. That's right. To use some of your stuff. That's right, Logan. Page. So Logan is the son of the owner of JR. Yeah, 100%. JR, which originally owned Doug Wright. Yeah. So, and he's a driver, isn't he? Yeah, JR's Logan. Logan is our steerman. Yeah, in the race boat. Yeah. So Logan reaches out to me because he saw my content with Joe. 100%. And he goes, "Hey man, your guys' Doug Wright is so badass." And it's like cool all that stuff. He's a young kid, but he's camera. He's always like, even when we're walking to the race boat, you know, he's still like, I'm like, bro, get your helmet on, get your suit on, give Ilse
Get your
that
head in the
camera. Let's go, man. But I mean, like, he's got the eye. He's, you know, like I pay videographers and photographers to come to our races and stuff like that to create content. Logan's jumping out of the boat, grabbing the camera from the guys and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you need to be interviewed right now. Give him back the camera, you know, like, but
I could just do a selfie interview of myself better.
But he's got that eye for content and stuff like that. Does. And he was trying to build the Doug Wright brand because Doug Wright's not as a top tier as like MTI when it comes to fit and finish. It didn't used to be. You know, they were plainer. They were a race proven boat.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a race boat.
Exactly. They just got into the pleasure half within the last 10 years. Right. You know, so Logan was trying to blow up that to, you know, bring that to something. And you guys, the content always that you guys put out is phenomenal. Yeah. And so then with it just being of that boat, I know why he reached out to you guys and stuff.
Well, we did that whole thing from like that helicopter shots and all that. It was like a whole, in essence, it was like a pilot
and that
of a
was
show.
Doug Wright's Instagram for like a month.
Yeah, well, that's all they posted was our stuff. Yeah, because we had photos from all over the country. Yeah, traveling, cool, like kind of like, you know, sports shots, you know, kind of like that extreme, you know, sports lifestyle kind of feel to it, you know? And so he started reaching out, and that's when I was like, hey guys, we're doing this thing in Miami. I'd love to have you there. Yeah. And how kind of him was it that they come to the event on their, I think it was their red one at the time.
They brought their red race boat from the 2023 season.
That was a 38, wasn't it?
It was a 38. Yep. It was the hull before our new 39 came out.
Yep.
That.
Yep.
Still a little bit faster. But,
oh, the red one was?
The red one was faster. I don't know what the hell it was, but man,
that thing was so light.
That was fast. It was a fast boat.
I think it was scooted. But yeah, so we have our event, and then you guys all showed up, but the right guy showed up. Right. And what happened was I needed to ship my boat down there. And that's when I reached out to you and said, hey, dude, can you ship my boat down there? And you're like, yeah, hey. And I said, hey, come to the event too. You don't have to pay for it.
Well, it was like, I was halfway on my way there, and I was talking to my girlfriend, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just like stay in Miami for the weekend because I'm assuming he's going to want it brought back. But we didn't even talk about the return trip. We just talked about get my boat to Miami.
Get there. I'll figure it out.
I was like, bet I'll get the boat to Miami. So I got the boat to Miami, and I was like, I was telling her, I was like, I'll probably just hang out. I don't think he's going to want to keep it there the whole winter because some guys do take their boats down there for the winter and stuff like that. We still really didn't know each other that well, you know, so I didn't know how to read. I thought it was just get the boat to Miami. And then you end up calling, like after I talked to her, and it was so weird, you know, she's like, you called and you were like, hey, could I get you a hotel and could you hang out, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what I said I was going to do. So yeah, bro. Yeah, exactly. Hell yeah. And then you were like, you opened up, you know, come over. You know,
you come to the event free. Don't just come on in.
Just pulling up, you know, like when we had Joe there the first time, film my first like awesome Instagram content that I ever had, you know, it's just that first interaction. I was like, this is something, you know, like this is something. And then went from there, you know, drop your boat off. And then you said, you know, grab a hotel, but come over later for dinner and everything and stuff like that. And I did. And I met your whole team, you know, your whole family, you know, you had your nanny, your kid, everybody was there. And couldn't beat it. You know, we're sitting right there on Biscayne Bay, you know, like, I'm like, this is it. You know, I was like, this is it, you know? So it was a really cool experience, you know? And then, folded into meeting JR with Doug Wright Powerboats.
Well, what happened was the day I was hosting the event, which was, I think, the next day or so, we're hosting the event. And I think you're just kind of outside hanging out with them because they were part of it, but they were just kind of there to hang out and support.
So it's really, I got to tell you how it happened because I'll always remember it. Like,
your perspective and mine will be two different things.
I literally always remember it. I was standing inside and I forget who was talking, but the boats had pulled up and like we had quick tied them off and I didn't, you know, he quick introduced me to everybody, but then the event had started. So everybody went inside and then I had ventured my way outside to smoke like I always do. And JR comes walking outside and he had known everybody is coming to this event as, you know, either paid or invite only, you know, so if you're there for the event.
Yeah. You want to hear the content. Yeah.
He came out and he saw me standing there smoking and he's like, what the hell are you doing out here? You know? And I told him, I was like, I'm with the boat. And he was like, what do you mean you're with the boat? And I slowly, you know, told my story. I was like, Ryan paid me to come down, take care of the boat, you know, make sure it's clean, tied up, blah, blah, blah. He was like, that's a really cool job. How did you? And I was like, I kind of made it. You know, and slowly started going from there. And he was like, we got this race boat. He was like, you should come to one of our races sometime. And I said, I know. I was like, I raced with Vinny Diorio in SV88 last year in Key West. I was like, I was planning on coming to the races this year and helping him out. And he's like, well, if you got any spare time, you know, come check out our operation and stuff like that. All right. This was in January, you know, race doesn't start until March or anything like that.
Yep.
So I was still under the impression that I was going to run with Vinny and SV88 that whole year. We'll come to March, first week in marathon. I didn't make it to the race with Vinny, and he blew both of his motors. So he called me and he said, I'm going to be out 2 races. The heads up. Shit. I got 2 boats that are going to every race. You know, that I'm being paid to transport there. Still going to be there. I was like, I'm going to hit up JR. You know, so, well, first I hit up Logan, you know, because we had talked on Instagram and stuff like that. And I said, hey, man, I said, you guys need any help on your race team? You know, like washing the boat or anything like that. Yeah. And he was like, talk to Romy. So I called Romy. I'm like, yo, Romy. I was like, it's Colin. Remember me from Paradyme and stuff like that? And he's like, oh, yeah, dude. How you doing, buddy? I was like, I'm going to be in Cocoa Beach. I was like, I got nothing to do. I was like, you want a hand? He's like, you got to talk to the boss about that. And I was like, all right. Can you send me his number? He's like, yeah. So I called JR. JR answers. Hey, I was like, it's Colin from Paradyme. I met you in Miami. You know, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I remember you, buddy. I remember you. This guy had me saved in his phone as Ryan from Paradyme forever, dude. Until I finally told him one race. I was like, can you change my name in your phone? Like, I'm not Ryan from Paradyme. Like, so he's like, I just remembered Ryan's guy, Bo. I was like, it's all good. So it's funny. So yeah, I was Ryan from Paradyme for a while.
You're Ryan's guy from Paradyme.
Yeah. So you know, fast forward to Cocoa Beach. I called him and I said, hey man, I want to be there. And he said, yeah, come on, hang out. You know, he's like, so then I'm on my way to Cocoa Beach and he's like, where are you? I was like, I'm almost at Cocoa Beach. He's like, drive to Key Largo for me. I'm like, the hell? I was like, that's 9 hours away, bro. And I was like, I got nothing better else to do. So I did it. So I drive to Key Largo. There was a bunch of tents. We had our new Montlake tents. They just got printed and we wanted them for the race. So I go down there. I pick up the tents, go back to Cocoa Beach. I meet everybody there. You know, the semi-truck had gotten there, all that stuff. He had the most ragtag bunch of guys that he could find, you know, to make it happen. Because at the end of the season before, they had a stacker and a boat. That's all they had. And when they brought Montlake on, bam.
They had it all.
Semi-truck, stacker, show haul. You know, we had to
big sponsor
live the show, you know. So he's, hey, can you drive? Hey, can you drive? Hey, can you drive? Hey, can you drive? So he got a bunch of people to drive all the equipment up there and stuff like that and set it up. And he was like, I forgot the boat. I was like, what do you mean you forgot the boat? He's like, it's still at the shop in just outside Clearwater. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'll go get it. Go get the boat. We got the boat, come back, get it there for the parade on time, all this stuff. We're in the parade, yada, yada, yada. We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're doing it. So then I help him. We race. Horrible race. Fucking get cut off in the first turn, washed out into Guardian mode, last place.
Oh, wow.
Didn't even finish.
Yep.
So I'm thinking he's in a horrible mood, you know, team owner and stuff like that. So I was like, what can I do to make his life easier? I go back to the pits and I start cleaning everything up. You know, got the awning, garbage can, everything, you know.
Yeah.
12 mini bikes.
Yeah.
The works.
Yep.
So his other driver, David, he shows up and everybody left. You know, they went to dinner and stuff like that. And me and this guy, David, we were like, hey, you want to start cleaning up? So we go. Clicked right away. Me and David clicked right away. We start bam, 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 putting everything away. JR shows back up. Everything's cleaned up. He's like, who did all this? Like, me and David did. He was like, what do I gotta do to have you at every race?
Yeah,
and I was like, let me think about it. You know, I was like, cause Vinny, you know, I was heart set on racing with Vinny. He gave me my first opportunity, you know, to race on a race team and stuff like that. And so I was like, what am I gonna do? You know, like, and so JR ended up calling me back. He's like, I really want to work with you, bro. He was like, I want you to come to the next race. He was like, come to Lotto. Lotto was the next race. And I was like, he's like, just show up. He's like, I'll have everything brought there. Show up. Okay. So I come, I show up, we race. First place.
Nice.
Killed it.
Yeah.
You know, it couldn't have been a better race. We won by leaps and bounds. We started getting that rhythm. Yeah. You know, that camaraderie.
Yeah.
Like
the team.
Everybody vibing and stuff like that. So he's like, tell me a number. He's like, I was like, I'm expensive. He's like, I'm rich. I was like, all right, for sure. I was like, let's make this happen, you know? I was like, but before that, I was like, I need to talk to some clients, you know, because I have built up this business in Lake Havasu, you know, and not that people rely on me, but people were relying.
In some cases, it's very important. Yeah.
So I called my main guy and I said, hey, man, I was like, I've gotten an opportunity to go on a real professional race team. I said, I've loved what we've built, what we had going. You know, I was like, it's taught me a lot. It's taught, you know, it's brought me to where I am. I was like, I know we've always talked about racing. You know, everybody talks about it. I want to have a race boat. I want to have a race boat. Everybody talks about it, but you know, do you want to do it and stuff like that? So he had talked about buying a race boat and stuff like that the next season and whatever. And that I got an opportunity to go run with a race team. He was like, you got an opportunity to go run with one, learn it, you know, do it.
Rock it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. He was like, we'll work everything else out. We'll make everything else well. You can find me guys to do all the stuff, right?
Oh, for sure.
I was like, let's run it. So I called JR and I was like, I'm in. He's like, all right, sounds good. He was like, you know, our first race he was like, we'll meet in Ocean City, Maryland. He was like, and then you'll kind of take over from there. He was like, JR didn't even know I had my CDL. You know, I was just coming to run the race team, you know, like, and I told him, I was like, I got my CDL. I was like, we could save on a driver, you know? And last year it was only the race boat and the support truck, like the semi truck. So 2 guys, me and David. Perfect. You know, we worked well. We vibed well. Then mid-season, we started bringing on mechanics. And we started bringing on more people. So then we needed to bring an RV hauler. And then they wanted a merch trailer and all this stuff. So it started evolving. Exactly. More people. And then it started, viral turned into a full-time deal. You know, like off race weekends, we were planning the next race. Planning future races. Planning the season.
Yeah.
So it started to take me away from my other business.
Yeah.
So I had to make a decision, you know, like whether I wanted to stay on the path of, you know, helping other people live their dreams.
Or you live yours.
Or try to live one of mine.
Well, the very beginning
you know,
of this,
like,
you said you were a young man that was, you know, on a boat, and that was your dream.
Exactly. And like I tell everybody, I was like, I'll always take a chance, you know, like I'll always take it, you know, like what's going to happen, you know? So I kind of went full-fledged into it. You know, I told JR, you know, I just came on as a crew member at first, you know, and then after like 3-4 races, JR was like, I want to name you crew chief of the race team. We value you. You do a phenomenal job, you know, appreciation, you know, like it was there.
Yeah, he
know?
appreciated it. Yeah.
He takes care
a lot of work.
He takes care of everything.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and my son-in-law, my daughter, they come out paid for. Hotels paid for. Rental cars paid for. Yeah. He's like, whatever you pay for on race weekends, he was like, I want to take care of it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he was like, I know what you put into this and what it takes. But that's at the end of last year, we're going to do like 14 races this season. What we were supposed to do. Promoters clash, blah, blah, blah. We end up splitting in half. But I had I had our whole schedule planned for the whole season, and I was going to be gone. You know, like it was going to be a full-time deal, like the carnival. You know,
well, and you're traveling a lot. It's exhausting.
It is.
There's only so much you can do.
Yeah. And as much as you try to work and try to make it work with everybody, you know, there's always going to be ups and downs, peaks and valleys and stuff like that. So him, you know, seeing that and valuing it and knowing, you know, and trying to make it easier and help. You know, the last day at Cocoa Beach, he's like, take him to Disneyland. He's like, we're right by Orlando. Go to Disneyland. You know, enjoy the day. Don't worry about anything here.
That's cool.
Like, so stuff like that, you know, is like goes leaps and bounds, you know, because it's like I do work so much, so hard, and so it's like I do sacrifice a lot of that family time and stuff like that. It is not a downfall, you know, but it is. I'm a go. You know, and it's like when we first met, you know, like, and then it wasn't until like Miami where like I was in my hotel and it was like 2:00 in the morning and something was like, you got to go check those bumpers and make sure. Like that was your task for this weekend was take care of that boat, you know, like God forbid a wave came, a bumper moved, and then that boat is now rubbing up, you know, something. So just something that told me like, yo, just take a 15-minute drive. You're in fucking Miami. You know, just go drive, look at the sights, smoke. So I go and I come and walk around the back door. you and this lunatic are out on the
Joe.
back patio podcasting at 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, what the hell are these guys doing? Like, what? I was like, all right, I thought I was different. This is a whole different. And we didn't see each other. Because you were podcasting.
I remember you were there. I remember you walking.
And so like the next morning I came and I was like, you go nonstop, bro. And he was like, I do. He was like, I got so much spot. And that's when it comes, like when you talk, I've listened to all your podcasts. So, it's like not only the weight of your life rests on your shoulders, but every single person that invests in you and trusts in you is, so it's like, you don't even sometimes you have to put your stuff aside because so many people have put their stuff aside for, so it's a hard balance, man. And for you, like I say all the time, like a lot of people come to Havasu with big dreams and want to do big things and nothing comes to fruition. And like I told my girlfriend, I was like, when I delivered Ryan's boat, there was like 6 storage units, setting off fireworks.
Yeah, with me and my family.
Like, there's nothing, and then you come here now and it's the north side of town now. Like this is and if it's not this year, it's going to be within the next 5 years. It's
coming.
We're going to Paradyme. We're going to Paradyme. Like whether it's the gym or if it's the office society, it's a daily name now. In Havasu, it's incredible. And so for somebody that does work as hard as I do and put as much into it as I do, with not knowing exactly the end goal, but just wanting to go. Cause like people tell me all the time, don't chase the money. Don't chase the money. Chase your passion, chase your dreams. The money purpose. Will come, know? And I was always, but I like nice things. Yeah, but do that. Okay. So I had a boat of my own. I got into boat racing. Race boats ruined my boat. 28-foot single motor. Never going to be able to compete with the race boats that I'm now getting the opportunity to run and drive and test and tune. And I mean, we put new motors on our boat this year. We went to 500s. We spent 2 weeks testing this boat, and it was me testing. It was learning the boat, learning math, learning all these things that I never thought I would be a part of, getting the opportunity to do it. Fast forward to this year, we go to the shootout and we bring my boss's pleasure boat, which is like a Ferrari on the water,
Yeah.
He didn't step foot in the boat the whole weekend. I drove it the whole time. He didn't get it in the boat one time. So
but he wanted it there.
But he wanted it there. And it was like, I'm lucky enough I may not have the bank account to have it, but I'm sure enjoying it. I was like, I'm banging that system like it's mine. Like, cause he told me to, like, then that's what he told me to. Like, I went over to the house turn the stereo on. Oh, bro, I was just cruising, enjoying, You gotta turn the stereo on, man. It makes it a whole nother level. It makes you want to drive faster. I'm like, why are you telling me this? Like, but okay. Like, and then it was like the next day we did the Make-A-Wish ride. That's the reason.
That was really cool. I remember
that's the reason why we went to the shootout this year was for the Make-A-Wish ride. Last year I was blessed and fortunate enough to be sponsored by White Boy Rick, and we ran the shootout and we beat the world record. Outboard catamaran powered boat. We worked with Motec and Collin.
You were all over the place when you ran that.
Awesome, dude. It was an awesome experience to be a part of that. And I mean, to set those types of speeds in an outboard boat, to be the first to go that fast in an outboard powered boat
it's a big deal. Yeah.
So like I said, we worked with Motec and Kong and a bunch of people, and we were
like Kong Performance.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Greg Kong.
So
I call Greg right now. We can have a conversation.
He did my C6 ZR1.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Kong Performance. Same Greg.
I had 1,005 horsepower to the wheels at 105 degree heat on the dyno. That thing was wild.
Mine was upper nines. Yeah, for sure. Same
fast.
So,
E85, the whole thing.
So Kong and Motec came at JR and they said, hey, we want to develop a plug-and-play product for the 450 500 motor. So they now have a computer that's plug and play for the 450 and 500 computer that'll up your horsepower to 130 horsepower.
Above the 450.
Above the 450 with a pulley.
So it's a 530.
530, you put a Kong pulley and an intake on, you get even a little bit more. Be crazy, you drill a hole in your engine cowling, you even get a little bit more out of that. So we worked with these
Don't
guys.
Tease me, dude. I'll get a center console over 100, no problem.
Things, bro, is unbelievable. So I'm with Pete, who owns Motec, and we're in this capsule boat, and he's used to pleasure boats and stuff like that. So we're in this confined space. He's got his laptop and stuff like that. I was like, how long did it take you to learn that computer program? Like, learn it. Wrote it. I was like, you're that guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm that guy. So we did tests and tunes and passes, and he went and adjusted parameters and all sorts of stuff. And so we developed that computer last year as all prototype. And now this year it's now in production where it's plug and play. You call Tech and tell them they'll send you computers. You put in the ECUs, you put on the Kong pulley, up your horsepower like that, baby. This year they're outboard catamaran 147.
I saw that. Dude,
there was a couple with the built internals using boost that were up in the 150s.
Yeah.
Phenomenal numbers, not realistic. Not plug and play. You can't do that every day. Justin Wagner with Waves and Wheels, who now owns Doug Wright Performance Powerboats.
Okay, so my D-Dub, I was doing...
You were in a Wright Performance.
Yeah, Wright Performance. So I ended up having that's same hull, but...
It's exactly the same hull. It was when Performance Boat Center partnered up with Doug Wright Powerboats to kind of up their fit and finish. That was their first generation of cool paint jobs, cool interiors, big stereos and stuff like that. That was made
it more of a pleasure boat.
Exactly.
Yeah, went from straight race to pleasure, but it was fast.
Race bottom.
Yeah,
with the race bottom.
And
it's the same exact bottom.
Do full carbon layup. That thing was, that boat was fast.
Awesome
it's still
boat.
To this day, everybody talks about that as that was a great boat.
100%.
That's probably one of the best Doug Wright or Wright performances ever built.
100%.
That thing was great. We have a lot of good memories on it. Yeah. But to see the 147 range, I was impressive because I did 124 on mine with the way it was propped.
In 3/4 of a mile with having a 1/4 mile start and a 1/4 mile that you have to slow down in.
Yeah, you're all in.
It's not easy.
No.
You can't just gas it. You have to start at 40 miles per hour. So it's like you
right
have to be
40.
going right at 40 and you have to hit it right. If you don't hit it right, you spin the props. You got it at the wrong, that's your
timing's
run
everything.
Right there, and so to see those numbers being hit consistently is phenomenal. Yeah. It's phenomenal.
That is so cool.
Because that's what a lot of these guys in these big inboard, outboard boats, 150, can't do 150. Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
we can.
Yeah.
And you know what we can do too? Is turnkey every weekend. And do it over
for sure.
And over and over
and it's
again.
easy to pull out, in and out. Yeah, it's a whole different. That's what I love about those boats is that it's just from an all around economically. It's better. It's not nearly as expensive. You can get those for $700,000-800,000.
It's where it's at.
Hey, dude, but you got 500s on. You got your
Cost
warranties. All this, dude,
exactly.
Easy to
plug
pull
and play.
My Raptor pulled it.
And change the oil, you're good to go.
And my Raptor pulled it.
Yeah, 100%. You don't need a sport chassis.
You don't.
Exactly.
It's a whole different level of ease, man.
Exactly. So it was a blessing to be able to run with them last year and being able to be a part of something so big in the boating world, and be able to put down a number. And I had a world record for a year. Yeah, I got smashed, but I couldn't be prouder. It was
you had the gold for the year, man.
Exactly, and it was like our passes helped develop his passes.
Yeah.
So it was like it was all working together. Yeah. We're all going to get to the moon eventually. So. But it was, like I said, it was and then coming to this year, we didn't come to run the shootout. We just came to do the Make-A-Wish, which is cool because the sponsor that we're a part of is big about giving back. Even with t-shirt giveaways, t-shirts aren't cheap. They come to each race with like 200 t-shirts that I give away like toilet paper. Oh, yeah. But they want to see their name
out there. About $5,000 for the stuff.
They want to see their name out there. They want to, and it has grown. We have fans now.
Yeah.
We have fans. Like people come, they're wearing our stuff, it's cool, to see it
But
grow.
you guys are fast. You guys
are champions last year, and we got one more race. We're going for 2-time national championship next week in St. Pete, so hopefully that all comes to fruition. Trying to wrap up a bunch of stuff up to try to get down to Miami to do a couple test days before St. Pete. And make sure we're good to go. So we're definitely looking for a 2-time, and then it just brings awareness to the sport. It shows that we're the fastest hull in our class. It's point proven.
Hey, do you remember? So the day before my event, the actual event, I think it was like a Saturday, but Friday. Remember, I did a podcast with Jordan Belford, the Wolf of Wall Street, the real Wolf of Wall Street.
I took you there.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you remember the video that I sent when we were prepping for the webinar? So you basically managed the boat. When I jumped off, I went up to his podcast studio.
100%.
Did you remember the video that me and Joe were sending of you sitting on the boat? We were out there.
Yeah. It was awesome.
You were just sitting there you look like the bodyguard.
It was such a surreal experience. I was on the phone the whole time calling people. I'm on Jordan Belfort's dock right now. You won't believe where I am. Look at this. This is it's a cruise ship right there.
That's what I was taking the video. I'm like, you're just loving life, man.
Exactly.
But there was yachts everywhere. It was a great spot.
And it's like, dude, it was like I say over and time and time again. Right place, right time. You know, because it was like I could have stopped at the gas station to get an energy drink. I wouldn't have seen Daniel. I wouldn't have seen you. You know, like. And how it all fell into place. If I didn't go outside to smoke that cigarette, I wouldn't have met JR. You know? And it was like.
And JR, they're such nice guys when we ran down to the Keys with them. Were you with us when I went to the Keys?
I skipped out on that day and I was so pissed after. It was because so in Havasu, I like to give people their time. You know, like I love to go out and enjoy the boat, but at the same time, if you're fully capable of taking your boat out and enjoying it with your wife, I want you to do that. You know, like as much as I love to be there and love to go fast and all that stuff, but you bought that boat for a reason. Sure. To go with your wife, not this random dude you met to take care of the boat. You know, let's be honest.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, no, it's full circle, right place, right time, and then like meeting everybody. And like you said, Jared, the nicest guy in the world.
They're really nice guys.
So nice. White boy Rick, you know.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Real quick. I don't know how that's going to be real quick, but yeah, we got to make it real quick.
We still have a little bit of time. So I remember I'd come out. I knew those guys, the guys were out there, right? They're just hanging out. I know you guys were out. There was like 4 or 5 guys who were just kind of kicking back out in the back. And I remember we had a little break, and so we walk out in the back, and White Boy Rick was there. And I was like, who's this dude?
Who is this guy?
He's this white guy. He's older, shaved head, gold chains. I'm like, we definitely are in Miami. But I'm like, who is this guy? And someone came up to me and was like, and it was so crazy because they're like, well, that's White Boy Rick. And I'm like, it clicked because I just watched the documentary on Netflix like a month before that. And I usually fall asleep to the TV. Like, that's what I do. I turn the TV on, I fall asleep, right? Yeah. So I remember starting that documentary, knowing I'll take maybe 3 or 4 nights to get through it. Yeah. And I stayed up the whole time to watch it because it was just, I couldn't believe what happened. The whole story is insane. So for those of you that are listening right now, if you haven't watched the documentary called White Boy Rick, I think it's what it's called. You got to watch it. It's a hell of a story. So just to give you an idea, how would you sum up his life? What happened? He just wrongfully accused, got stuck in.
Yeah. So his dad got into some stuff.
It was like weapons.
Yeah, weapons. Selling weapons to the wrong people. He tried to help his dad out.
You and I both know him. Yeah. We're going to get him on our podcast. Let's do that.
You need to, and he'll love it.
He'll totally do it. Yeah.
All day
I talk to him all the time on Instagram.
So he tried to, he was a hustler in the streets. He, young kid growing up in the hood. So he knew a lot of people, knew a lot of things. So he tried to help his dad, got out of some stuff. So he gave some information to the police.
And he was a young kid. He was like 15, 16.
13 he started being an informant. Yeah. And so kind of snowballed into working for the feds. Yep. He was a paid employee by the feds to find out information, about these street gangs and stuff like that. Well, you get into it, and he starts exposing the wrong people, mayors, police chiefs, and stuff like that.
Because they were in the drug game.
Exactly. Yep. Now they're like, hey, we got to shut this kid up. He knows too much. Put him in jail, Literally sent him on a drug buy. Yep. And then pretended like they didn't know him.
Yeah. They're like, oh, he's been the kingpin.
Exactly.
And they tried him at 16 or 17.
17 for life.
Yeah.
Life. The first life sentence in Detroit that was ever given out, and it was all because they needed to shut this kid up. Fast forward 30-something years. Finally, it was someone had to die. Exactly. Yeah. The original DA or the original mayor or something like that. They needed even the original judge that put him in jail, his niece, who is now a judge, didn't agree with any of this stuff.
Yeah, and was trying to get him out.
Lobbied to try to get him out, but that whole government, man.
It's a whole nother. That political stuff is no joke. Do what they want. Well, and it's over drug money and the money, and they were all getting kickbacks. Yeah. So he gets out.
And then he's smart. He teams up with this guy. Weed's legal now in Michigan. So he, sells his name, his name and his story. Yeah. Teams up with his partner, and they start a weed brand. Yeah,
and took off.
Crazy, dude. Just because culture, like just the name, the story, everything behind it. His brand, his logos. It's cool. It's cool. It's hip. So he took off with that. Just slowly started successfully like that, you know, and
But he's just the nicest guy though. Like
just the most humble
dude, I've
guy
never been, you would never
meet.
think.
Oh my God, you would never know.
He's
but he
so
tells you all
kind.
the time, he's like, I live like I'm 16 because that's when I got locked up. So he'll go to clubs and he'll ball out and he'll do all those things that we did before that he got to miss out on.
Yeah.
So now
he's living life.
And he is living
Oh yeah,
life,
he's out.
dude.
Dude, I see his Instagram blowing up and like celebrities this and doing that. Everyone knows him.
He got a
But dude,
Rari now and stuff. Like, hopefully.
I really enjoy. I remember us kind of doing a little round circle because you guys all stayed like longer than everybody else. Everyone else took off. You guys stayed for a while.
Yeah, a couple days.
I think after like you guys took off at night.
Yeah, we were there. We were there for a while.
Yeah.
I think we ended up ordering pizza.
Yeah, we just hung out, man.
But yeah.
Well, he stayed the whole time.
The whole time, and I mean,
and he came back the next day.
The most humble. You know, like he's always like calling me, like, "Hey man, I'm on the way to the race. You need a drink? What you need?"
Yeah, he's
like,
just a nice guy.
What? I was like, dude, come here. You're VIP, bro.
Yeah.
Like I got you. Like what you need to drink, you know? Like,
I there's so much controversy out there for stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, what I do is I just judge people based on my own interaction. Dude, I got enough life experience. I can sniff it out by now. You know, I get into rooms with millionaires, bro. I can tell you of someone's personality, who they are real quick.
Exactly.
And I really enjoy, he's always, dude, there's times I'll post on social media, he'll write like a story. He'll be like, hey man, it's so good to see you doing well, man. I miss you, bro. Would love to see you soon.
All right, so
he's just such a nice
the
guy.
Best thing. So Tank, my dog, everybody knows Tank.
Everybody knows Tank.
I take him everywhere I go. So he's either sitting in my truck or he's in, you know, he's somewhere. He's a good dog. So I happen to have him in my truck, and white boy Rick walks up, and I look down, and then Tank goes running past my feet. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? And then white boy Rick comes walking up. He's like, nobody's locked up around me.
Let him out.
So he's always letting Tank out. He's always feeding him grilled cheese and stuff. I'm like,
that's so funny.
Yeah. So he loves Tank. So so he's always like, and I mean, he's awesome, dude. And so then last year I meet him in St. Clair, which was his hometown. We did an OPA race there. We didn't even race. We just went there for fun to help promote OPA. OPA is a smaller organization of offshore powerboat racing. But they're like 700 classes, open bow boats, you know, nothing in the caliber that we have. But we go to their events to try to bring people to their events, try to bring other race teams. If another race team will show up, we'll race them, you know. So we would go to these events. So I met him at St. Clair, which was a smaller race weekend and stuff like that. And I pulled his boat in the parade because we had the White Boy Rick boat, you know, for the St. Clair. Yeah. He sponsored, put his big snowman up on the boat. It was awesome. And so then we had our race boat, and then so we do parades around the towns and stuff like that. So I was pulling the White Boy Rick boat. Like you said, I met him in Miami and everything like that. I didn't even watch the documentary.
I didn't even know.
I didn't even know. I still thought it was just random Miami white.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm driving the boat in the parade, and this is like 30 minutes from his hometown. So this dude in this town, a hero. Everybody's like, White Boy Rick, we love you, girl. I'm like, who is this dude? I'm driving the boat in the parade. I Google.
You start looking at
White Boy Rick, Netflix documentary. I'm like, I'm watching in the parade. I'm watching.
You're pulling his boat and you're watching his documentary.
Boat. He's on the back of the truck in a chair, and I'm watching his Netflix documentary. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? So then I met, watched the documentary, and then the next day, Jared's like, hey, can you take Rick out in the boat? He wants to go for a ride in the boat.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah. So the dude jumps in the boat. He's like, 7 years ago, I was in a prison cell. Right now, I'm in this race boat with you. I'm like, this is pretty cool, bro. Like this.
Let's go. Yeah.
So we're racing around and shit. The whole time he's FaceTiming everybody. Look at, we on a race boat. All this stuff. Cool as shit. So then we clicked. Ever since then, he comes back like an hour later with like a box of merch, hoodies, t-shirts, jackets, everything. Hats. He's like, this is all for you, bro. Don't give any of this stuff away. He's like, this is out of my closet. So it's all new era,
that's
like
cool,
like good stuff.
Yeah.
So, and he's like, you gonna be at the race this weekend? I'm like, dude, I'm at every race. You don't have to ask me if I'm gonna be at the race. I'm at every race. So he's like, I'm bringing you more gear. And he's like, tag me on Instagram. He's like, and when you tag me on Instagram, text me and I'll share it because his Instagram blows up like yours does all the time. And he'll get pissed if I tag him and I don't tell him. Like, bro, I missed it. What the fuck? And I'll be like, I'm sorry. I feel bad texting you, being like,
hey, I tagged you.
Share my stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not why I'm doing it. So So he's real cool about that. So yeah, so then, like I said, he did the Make-A-Wish last year with that boat, and then this year we went to Lotto to do the Make-A-Wish with JR's boat and Montlick and stuff like that. So I was blessed and privileged to, wheel around that nice brand new 39 canopy. I mean,
that one was beautiful.
Dual AC units. The thing's got 36 speakers inside of it. You close this canopy and it's just like you're inside the sub. It's just,
I bet.
It's an incredible boat. Handles phenomenally. We brought a stock set of props. I didn't do any tuning to it whatsoever, and I hit up 120.
Yeah,
and we ended up doing the shootout for fun.
No, right on.
Jared was like, "Hey, you want to take Gus Falcone and do the shootout?" I was like, "Sure, let's do that."
That's funny. We just talked about that. So talk about who Gus is.
So Gus Falcone is, if you've watched the Netflix documentary series,
another documentary. Got it.
Another Netflix guy. The Cocaine Cowboys back in the 80s were big in the boat racing days. It was one of the boat racing teams. That's how they funded boat racing, was smuggling cocaine.
They washed their money by opening up banks and buying real estate.
Banks making Miami what it is today. The nightlife, the glitz, the glamour that Miami is. That stuff that, Petey Pablo and all those guys, shout about now. That they built that, like they made that lifestyle what it was. And so he came to our Cocoa Beach race. I met him, and right away I knew him because I've watched the documentary. And, being in the industry, in the sport and everything like that, you hear of all these
stories.
The stories, exactly. And so to see this guy in the flesh, it's like, what's up, man? Like, you don't want to glorify him for him being a drug dealer, because at the end of the day, he wasn't a drug dealer, like his organization.
It was his family.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just an area.
His thing was the boat racing.
Yeah.
The passion.
Yeah.
That's his passion at the end of the day. He wants to build a new boat.
He was the one. He's like the one where you listen to those documentaries, but he was like the kid of the guys that were doing all the stuff.
That was this other guy. He was the cousin of Will Falcone. He's Gus Falcone.
That's right.
The cousin of. So,
but he knew the politics.
He
knows
the
everything.
politics, like I said, like earlier, like presidents with, meetings with presidents and stuff like that. Like, drug organizations that are so big, it makes banks look small. Like it wasn't, so that's why I said I don't like to glorify him as in the cocaine days and stuff like that, because he's really passionate about the boats. And that's he comes in, and I took him for a boat ride the other day, and he taught me something that I never learned in a boat, so, and it's like pretty cool, and like he calls this pussy stuff like that because of our races. They're 10 laps in a circle. These guys used to do 176 miles to the Bahamas, lap the Bahamas, and go back to Miami, like out in the ocean, endurance style. So like it's a little bit different what it is now to what it was then, but he wants to get back involved in it now and help bring it to what it was back in the day when we had so much exposure and when it was on ESPN and stuff like that. It sucks that you gotta not use him, but like he lived it, he did it.
Well, he's got he's got a big following for giving back, and
exactly.
I think he's a Christian guy. Yeah, he speaks
like
at like all these churches and so forth. Yeah, I see him on social media. He really kind of narrows down the politics of what transpired back in those days.
100%.
So he's definitely. I mean, he was always a clean guy, but he's really kind of cool here.
That Netflix documentary was told by the snitches.
Yeah.
So it's one-sided. It's cool, it's entertaining and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it was one side of the story.
Sure.
He's trying to get the real side out, to where he can explain like how it became the organization that it was and everything like that. So he's trying to, because
it got helped by politicians to get there.
100%. He can't do what you do without it. No. I mean, come on now. So politicians, police departments, everybody. We were sitting at breakfast one day talking about all the people that were on his payroll. Like literally everybody that you could think of. So it's wild and crazy, but that's the sport. The sport is money based. It's celebrity based. We have celebrities coming in and out and stuff like that, but it's cool. It's crazy. It's wild, and how it's all unfolded from, right place, right time, and then just taking the ball and running, like running.
Well, you've done good. It sounds like, you're kind of on the path that you've always wanted to be on,
one of them. And
well, you're already there
all the time. I'm like, when I did truck driving and equipment operating, my goal was to operate and run the biggest trucks and move the biggest loads. Did it. So it was like check mark, completion, goal achieved, and so then it's like next thing, not that I'm always hot, but it's like to keep this going, then it's like, I've created the relationships that I've created, like with the drilling company. I still work for them. I'm leaving here. I'm going to LAX to get on a flight to go do a move for them.
Yeah.
And then I have 600,000 things that I have to do for my own company. And it's like going back to the not being able to say no, because my buddy called me and he asked me for my help. So it's like, yeah, dude, I'm there for you. Whatever you need, I got you. And then, like I said, it's that parachute, that backup plan. Sometimes sucks to have, because then it's like, well, I know I can't fail because I got that. You know, so
Totally.
like sometimes it's like people are like, what do? You got to take that jump. You got to make that full-fledged leap into it, you know? And like for a while I did it, you know, and it sucked. It was scary, you know, like it was like ramen noodles and shit like that, you know? So it was like, all right, I'll still do this. If I could still help them out and keep my health insurance active, I think maybe we could survive in this life. So that's
well, you're doing it, man.
That's kind of what it does. And it's like, everybody asks me, they're like, what are you doing tomorrow? I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's going to be something.
It's going to be something cool.
It's going to be something
well,
cool.
Dude, it's really fun to watch, because I mean, you're getting interviewed and you're getting,
crazy.
It's crazy.
It's so cool.
You're all over the place when it comes to this race team. And I think they really rely on you a lot. And I see that camaraderie that you just mentioned going on in that race team.
Yeah.
And because I knew when they bought the company and they moved into it, they just were getting their feet wet.
Right.
So
And
now
like
you guys are literally, you know, winning races. I mean, it's impressive in 2 years.
Yep.
In essence, you know,
I mean, since I've come on, me and JR talked about it the other day. There's only been one race that we haven't podium finished. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like so I tell everybody, you know, a lot of people, you know, sing our praises just because we've gotten to a certain place. I came from, you know, answering phones in a call center, like doing mortgages to where we are. And
there's a room in a truck shop.
Yeah. I don't
bugging the guy. Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you going to move today? Can I come help you? I'll throw your chains. You know,
Just
like, and that's how I got it. You know, like a lot of guys in the trucking industry didn't do the loads that I did until they were 50, 60, because there was a seniority base. But it got to the point where these guys were like, just let him fucking do it already, you know, like, and that's how, you know, so it was like, honestly, like bugging people, asking questions, wanting to be a part of it. The first race that I went to in Key West was because I brought a boat down there. I knew Vinny Diorio raced, and I saw him, and I said, hey, man, can I help you out? Whatever you need. If I could just hang out and wear a jersey, you know, like just to be a part of it. Then, bam, next thing you know, I'm there in the water changing props for the guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy in 20 minutes is giving me a $20,000 prop in my hand to put on his boat, you know? So it's like, shit. You know? So it's cool. It's like I said, go for the best, go for the biggest, want to be the fastest, but just still keep it all there. Yeah. You know?
Well, dude, you know me, man. I'm going to be tracking you guys and obviously use you for all the stuff I can use you for.
Dude,
you know,
I always appreciate it. And that's cool. And like a lot of people don't get what I've put into the race stuff, and they don't like working around it, you know, but I do still have a core group of guys that still like, hey, whenever you can get to it.
Dude, Rami text me, hey, man, just thinking about you. I see Colin all the time, you know, just thinking about you, you know, that type of stuff.
Hannah pays me.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's great.
It's really good people. Well, thank you guys. Hopefully that was fruitful for you. Just going to give you an idea what it's like to go from kind of cradle to grave and getting into the race teams, you know, and it's so cool to bring you on to a podcast because it's so uncommon to have someone that's doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I want people to know.
Link it together.
Yeah, well, it's part of our brand, right? 100%. Family office. You know, you're talking about wealth. You're talking about people's dreams and they're living their dreams and how they got there.
Like-minded things, you know, like with that building that you're building is going to be incredible.
Oh, dude,
you know, it's just going to. Like I say all the time, we're going to Paradyme. Let's go to Paradyme. It's gonna be the spot, dude. Yeah, it's gonna be the spot.
We're getting a lot of recognition. I think it's gonna be great. So phenomenal. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching and listening. Guys. Appreciate you. Yeah. On to the next.